Someone is beating around the bush with you right now, and you don't even know it. It's the friend who texts, "Hey, are you busy later?" instead of just asking for the favor. It's the boss who opens your review with, "So, how do you think things are going?" It's your doctor going, "So, the tests came back," and then pausing for what feels like a geological era. Nobody is saying the thing. Everybody is circling the thing. They are all, every one of them, beating around the bush. And you know exactly what it means. It means to avoid the point, to stall, to talk in nervous little circles around the actual topic instead of just saying it. But here's what you've never stopped to ask. Why a bush? Why are we beating it? And why, specifically, are we beating around it instead of just hitting the dang thing? Because the answer is genuinely one of my favorites on this whole channel, and it involves a real job, real danger, and a wild boar that wants you dead. If you like the hidden history behind everyday phrases, tap that like button. Let's get into it. Okay, picture medieval England. You are very rich. You own a lot of land, and on that land are birds. And you would like to eat those birds, or shoot those birds, or watch your trained falcon dramatically murder those birds, because this is the medieval version of having a really nice TV. But there's a problem. The birds are hiding. They're tucked down in the thick undergrowth, in the bushes and the brush, and they are not going to politely fly out into the open just because a nobleman has arrived and would like to hunt them. You need to scare them out. You need someone to go stomping through the shrubbery, making a racket, smacking the bushes with a stick, until all the terrified birds burst up into the air, where the hunters are waiting with nets and falcons. And here's the thing. The rich guy is not going to do that himself, obviously. So he hired people. This was an actual job. These people were called beaters. Their entire employment was to walk through the woods whacking plants to flush out birds for their wealthy boss. And before you laugh, this job still exists. On grouse and pheasant shoots in Britain today, they still hire beaters. Fun fact, Kazuo Ishiguro, the man who would go on to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, worked as a grouse beater for the British royal family. So the next time you feel unaccomplished, just remember a future Nobel laureate once had the job of professionally annoying birds for the queen. So that's the bush, and that's the beating. The beaters beat the bushes. But we're still missing the best part, the most important word in the whole phrase, around. Because they didn't beat the bush, they beat around the bush. And there is a very specific, very alarming reason for that. It's boars. See, when you send a person into dense medieval undergrowth to start violently hitting it with a stick, birds are not the only thing that might come out. That same thick brush was exactly where wild boars like to hide. And a wild boar is not a bird. A wild boar is a 400-pound tank made of muscle, bad attitude, and two enormous tusks. And if you whack the bush it's sleeping in, it does not gently flutter away. It comes out fast, and it comes out angry, and it can absolutely kill you. So the beaters learned to be careful. They didn't beat directly into the heart of the bush, where something enormous and furious might be waiting. They beat around it, the edges, the safe perimeter, enough to spook the birds out, not so much that they'd wake up a murder pig and get gored to death for minimum wage. Sit with that, because it's perfect. The phrase was born from the act of deliberately not going straight to the dangerous center of something, approaching it cautiously from the side, because hitting it head-on might genuinely hurt you. Which is precisely what you're doing when you beat around the bush in a conversation. When your friend texts, "Hey, you busy?" instead of, "Can you help me move on Saturday?" they are circling the edges of a scary bush. When your boss eases in with, "How do you think things are going?" they are very much not whacking the boar directly. The danger isn't a 400-pound pig anymore. The danger is the awkward conversation, the hard truth, the thing nobody wants to say out loud. But the instinct is identical. Approach from the side. Don't hit the scary thing head on. You might get gored. And the original phrase carried a little extra sting that we've mostly forgotten, because the beating was never the point. The beating was the boring preamble, the busy work before the actual exciting part, which was catching the birds. And there's an early version of this phrase, from a poem all the way back around 1440, that basically says some people beat the bush and some people take the birds. Meaning some poor sucker does the tedious setup and somebody else swoops in and gets the actual reward. So, beating around the bush originally implied not just caution, but inefficiency, wasting time on the preliminary fuss while the real result goes to someone else. Which, again, is exactly what we mean today. When someone won't get to the point, they're stuck in the busy work of the conversation, circling, stalling, beating the metaphorical bush, while the actual important thing just sits there, uncaught. And here's how genuinely old this is. That 1440 poem is one of the oldest non-biblical phrases in the entire English language. People have been beating around the bush as a phrase for nearly 600 years. There are versions in print from the 1400s. It is older than modern English itself. It survived from a world of falcons and boars and noblemen's hunting parties, all the way into your group chat, where it now describes your friend who still hasn't told you why they actually called. One quick note for the language nerds, and I count myself proudly among you. The British say beat about the bush. Americans say beat around the bush. The about version is older. The around version is the American upstart, and the around version only really overtook it worldwide around 1980. So if you've ever heard a British person say, "Stop beating about the bush," and thought they were saying it wrong, they are, in fact, saying the original. So the next time someone is talking in nervous circles, refusing to get to the point, dancing around the thing they actually called to say, you'll know exactly what they're doing. Just gently let them know the only thing hiding in there is a direct conversation that misses them. If you want more of the true stories hiding inside the phrases you use every day, subscribe. New episodes every Monday and Wednesday.